Hey, what's up, everybody? Blood Moon FT here, and today I just want to talk a bit about how excited I am for Baldur's Gate 3. Its release date for PC, at least, has been pushed up, thankfully, so it's going to be coming out on August 3rd instead of its original August 31st date, and I can't even begin to explain how excited I am for this. I love games like this. I played Divinity 2 Original Sin a lot, like many years ago when I was younger. Loved that game so much. Right now, I'm actually playing Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, I believe. I'm just trying to kind of, sate my hunger for this style of gameplay before, because I got to stall out for about a month. But I mean, not too much longer. It's July 10th. It's not too long. But, yeah, so right now we're in the early access, obviously. The game came out, as you can see here, October 6th, 2020, and I remember the moment it came out, I believe I was kind of wrapping up Divinity 2, and I saw it and I was like, oh, this is like the sequel to it or something, because I'm not familiar with the Baldur's Gate series, the franchise. I'm a little more accustomed to it now, but initially I thought it was just a sequel. And didn't pre-order it, I bought it immediately. I didn't realize how Larian Studio early accesses work. I mean, personally, I don't regret it. I enjoyed the early access. But if you played day one early access, you know how much of a mess it was, how much of a buggy mess it was. And it was to the point where, honestly, a lot of the fun in the game was just finding the insane bugs and, like, while you're talking to a character, how their face, they turn off or the graphics freak out. That was part of the major fun of it. And I actually enjoyed it a lot. The early access had, I believe, I forgot how much content. I think it wasn't initially just Act 1. I remember there were like 7, 8, or 9 major updates. Like every 3 months there would be a major update and they'd add so much stuff. And I remember people were saying just wait until mod support gets added. Mod support. Once mod support gets added, things will pick up like crazy. It'll be more enjoyable while we wait. But every time there was a major update, I played through the content that we could play through again. And let's see here. I got not 76.7 hours worth of gameplay out of it. Loved every minute of it. Fantastic game. Love the companions. The music is just incredible. God tier music. And I love the D&D style gameplay because, like, I used to play D&D with my friends back in high school. Let's see. Actually, I think it was after high school, like 2019 to 2020 area, before I played Baldur's Gate 3. And every Sunday, we'd hop on Discord, we'd play D&D for like 5 or 6 hours straight. Very long sessions. And I'd never played D&D before, but so it was a lot of fun. It was me learning how to, play it. And after a while, it did get to the point where it was a little draining because it was almost like I enjoyed it, but having to play D&D for 5 to 6 hours straight every Sunday, and just me knowing, oh my god, I'm gonna have to play this for that long. I better get some food, better get ready. I think at the time I just couldn't handle that. I was still pretty young. ADHD would go crazy. Like I needed something else to occupy my mind for that time period. But I loved the game. I loved the mechanics. And ever since then, I had wanted to find a D&D-like game that I could play solo. I didn't want to have to play on other people's time. I wanted to be able to play on my own, and that's how I kind of started down this path of playing games like these RPG style. Well, I guess what would the genre be called? I know they have it in here, right? RPG, PvE, turn-based, dungeon, CRPG. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. The CRPG genre, like D&D led me to that genre. I started enjoying it, and I'm telling you right now, like, I have insane trust in Larian. They've already proven to us during this early access that they know what they're doing. They're devs that love the game. I watched their video the other day when they were explaining the big city that we're gonna go to. I kind of forgot some of the details about it, but just watching them explain it, it's different from when you look at like Bethesda. You see Todd, 16 times the detail, 2 times the map size. When you see them talking about it, they're nerds. They're geeking out over what they love. You can feel it. You feel the excitement for them. You feel how excited they are that we're going to get to play the game that they loved to make, you know? So while I was watching that, every minute of it I enjoyed, and I knew that they were going to deliver. Divinity 2, I loved it. It was a fantastic game. I still want to keep playing it over and over because I know for a fact that I haven't seen everything there is to see. And that's what I love too. There's so much replayability, different classes, all that stuff. I know that like with Pathfinder right now that I'm playing, just creating the character, I spent like close to 5 hours created because I was looking at YouTube videos. I was like, oh, what classes are cool? What traits are cool? What routes? The freaking not routes. The mythic paths. I was like looking at all these cool things, and I can't tell you how much how excited I was. But yeah, in terms of like the content, obviously Pathfinder has way more right now. But I also saw in here, I think it was this update, one of these. Where is it? Was it this one? This is a really, really big, like, yeah, look at this. The launch races and subclasses. Dog, there's so much stuff. It's insane, too, because all this stuff, and I'm still going to pick human. I'm still going to pick human. You can call me boring. I know when I was playing D&D, my friends, they were like, really? You're going to go with human? You can be anything you want. You're going to go with human? I was like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like, I just like being a human, dog. I mean, Dragonborn seems actually sick. I might try Dragonborn. But, like, yeah, human. And I know there's going to be a bunch of you in here who are like, yeah, I'm a human. I'm going to be a human. But, yeah, so much stuff. I remember the monk class is something people were begging for during the early access, and they never got it. Oh, yeah, there's the release date. PS5, how unlucky. They got delayed, I believe. But, yeah, the race is gonna be sick. Okay, here it is. Check it. These classes, dog. All these freaking classes. Wizards stacked up like crazy. Although I don't think it's gonna have as much as Pathfinder. Like, I already know I'm gonna enjoy this more, obviously. And I'm so excited. I'm ready, dude. I'm so freaking ready. Like, this is, oh my god, so much content. And I'm excited. I'm very excited. Just gotta stall out a bit longer. Now, I also wanted to address something that I noticed that is also a little bit of a problem with our community. So for these CRPG style games, ever since D&D, whenever I played them, I noticed something, and this is actually pretty common in almost every single game you really find, RPG styles. Even in Minecraft. A common enemy type in these games are spiders. Arachnids, giant tarantulas, giant spiders, stuff like that. Now I'll say right now, I have arachnophobia. Playing those types of games and having those enemies like appear, it's very bothersome. And I'll explain this for you. So, before I explain it though, actually, I want you to know there are plenty of mods that will transform spiders into wolves or cows or sheep. There are plenty of mods. The modding community is really good for that because they can encompass a wide array of, disorders or really anything. If you need it, there's always going to be a mod for it. And if not, people just ask and, wait a little bit and a mod normally pops up like that. So, whenever I play these CRPG games, if I assume there's going to be a spider in it, I search up Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, no spider mod. And I always see, mostly on Reddit, the games subreddit, someone will ask, and you always see the thread flooded with like, just get over it. Just get over it. Just fight them. You'll feel better. All that. Yada, yada, yada. Don't be a baby. And, like, especially the one for Pathfinder, I saw one, and I'll probably put it up on the screen, but someone asked if there was a mod for Arachnophobia. Simple as that. Nothing demanding. They were asking. And someone said, it's a game about facing horrors and you want to remove the horrors? And this person had a fantastic response. And that really resonated with me. It's like, it's a game about having fun. For some people, specific elements may reduce or spoil the fun. People who don't mind spiders don't have to use the Arachnophobia mod, but for those who do, it's nice to have a mod that will help with that. It's very simple, very, straightforward. It's like, hey, if you don't have this disorder, you're cool. You can face those horrors that you like so much. But there are people who have this disorder that inhibits their ability to enjoy a game. It makes it so they can't really fully enjoy the elements. And to put it plainly, when you play a game and you know that there are like gonna be giant spiders, it adds a different level of like anxiety where, when I'm playing, let's see, well, I could just use Baldur's Gate, for example. When I went to the Druid's Grove and we went and talked to that lady, the first person we go to for help with the brain worm, and she's like, oh yeah, I just have to kill you, and that's the only way to solve it. And we start fighting her. I was like, oh, okay, cool, sick, let's fight her, okay. The first thing she does on me, and I wasn't prepared for it, I'm sitting there all like in my screen, oh, this is sick, this looks great. Boom, massive spider right in my face. The level of fear that I felt, and I can't really even say that it was fear. It was like something straight in my core, and it like forced me to just reject what I was seeing. It like turn around, my heart's pounding. Well, it wasn't pounding really fast. When I get super scared, my heart slows down, like really slows down. And I'm like, gotta walk out of my chair and like do a couple paces over there around the room. I'm like, I gotta calm down. And I know it sounds dramatic. It is dramatic. I wish I didn't have that. I wish I wasn't like that. I wish nobody had arachnophobia. I wish we all did. I wish phobias didn't exist in general. But unfortunately, that's the way it was. So after that, and I kid you not, I took my freaking mouse and I went over there behind my dresser and I was like peeking over, trying to like kill it. After that interaction, the rest of the game, you're in a cold sweat, nervous, on edge, like, dude, when is the next time I'm going to see another one of these monstrosities on my freaking screen? When? It's going to be around this corner. Is someone going to summon it? When is it going to happen? And then don't even get me started on the bosses, the spider bosses. My first time ever running into a spider boss was when I played Skyrim. I think I was like 16, and my phobia was already like well developed back then. Like, I was a kid just terrified of them. And when I went on my first mission, well, not even the first mission, I think we started the game in like that cave, and then those two massive spiders dropped down, and I even just talking about it and like reminiscing on it, I feel like there are things crawling up my body, like in my head. It feels terrible. It's a mental disorder. And those two spiders freaked me out so bad. I was on my little laptop. I had a Toshiba i3 laptop, and I like flicked it off my lap because it freaked me out so bad. And then I had my little brother go kill the spiders. I was like, hey, can you just take care of these things? Like, I don't want to look at it. It's making me sick. Like, legit, that makes me want to puke. And he beat it, and I kept going throughout the game with no problems. And then the first like major mission, I was sent to go rescue some guy in a mountain. And as I was walking through that mountain, I was descending into it, and I saw the spider webs. I was like, I got this feeling in the back of my head. That's when I really started like cold sweats. I was sitting there, my hands were clammy. I was like, I really hope this isn't what I think it is. Hopefully this is just cobwebs because it's so old down there. And when I walked out into that open area and I saw that thing descend from the top of the cave, woo, instant uninstall. I haven't touched the game since then. It's been like 6 or 7 years since then. Haven't touched it, haven't looked at gameplay, and it sucks because I've heard how fantastic Skyrim is, one of the best game series of all time, franchise, the Elder Scrolls. Never touched it again. And I know there's mods for it, but like, nah, I'm not touching it again. And I know a couple years afterwards, I played the Elder Scrolls Online. That was fun until I accidentally joined a dungeon that was just all spiders. And I remember I was trying to hang back because I think I was like a mage or something. That was my class. And I was letting all my teammates push forward and take care of it. I was like, okay, I'll just blast a couple fireballs here and there, kind of turn away and do it. And I will never forget when we faced the boss and I was all the way in the back, that thing lunged at me it ignored my whole team and lunged at me. And again, felt like my heart stopped. I instant Alt F4 uninstalled. I hated it. So, like I said before, these phobias, they're not rational. They're persistent, they're excessive and unrealistic. Okay? And it's not something that can easily be solved by just killing it. Oh, kill it and you'll get over it, you know? It's a phobia. It's not just like a regular fear. Like for me, I'm not afraid of heights, but I'm definitely afraid of falling from a freaking large height, right? Because you're gonna die. Yeah, I'd like to not fall off that skyscraper. But it's not going to make it so that, just being on the roof of a skyscraper makes my legs weak and stuff. But I understand. And I think the key part of it is understanding this situation for people. But yeah, like I was saying, for people who have a phobia, and I'll just specifically, narrow it down to arachnophobia, and let me know if you agree in the comments, because I know there are probably some of you who watch this video who have arachnophobia, and I'm sure there's going to be some of you who don't, so I'd like to give you a better understanding of it. Those who have it, we go through like extreme lengths to avoid spiders in general, be it real life, obviously, or video games, any type of media, and I'm sure Kill It With Fire, when that appeared in people's like Steam recommendations, I'm more than certain that fellow arachnophobics did not like that at all, and that was just a literal jump scare for no reason. But we go through great lengths to avoid it, and even though, like, if the object or like the situation, the spiders, can't be avoided, we're just playing in like distress nonstop. Like, I haven't reached this level where I have panic attacks or faint, but I know that this can cause people to faint or have panic attacks. It puts great stress on your mind, knowing the thing you have a phobia of is right around the corner and it's unavoidable. But you want to play this game. You want to love it. It's fun. When you're not encountering spiders, you're having so much fun. And it's like, I'm telling you, freaking ear to ear, I was just grinning, enjoying Baldur's Gate. But every time there was a giant freaking tarantula, the mood switches entirely. And, my brother, he would see that too. I'm sure he was like, oh, wow, he's really enjoying this game. And then all of a sudden, I'm like hiding somewhere, covering my face with my shirt, or like literally nauseous, about to puke. Because I'll tell you right now, for me, even though I don't have panic attacks or faint, I get nauseous. Extremely nauseous. Even back when I played Minecraft, obviously that doesn't bother me anymore, the Minecraft one, so I'm kind of proud of myself for overcoming that, bare minimum. Looking at the Minecraft spiders when I was like 13 or 12 made me nauseous. And now, looking at other spiders in game makes me nauseous. But this isn't something that you can just face down or get over it. You legit need medical intervention, straight up. And I know when I was a kid, the last thing I wanted was intervention or therapy, because I always thought, oh my God, if I go through therapy, they're just gonna have me close my eyes and put a spider in my hands and have like shock therapy or something. And I'll tell you right now, that wouldn't help. And people with arachnophobia know, because when I was growing up, a lot of pranks revolved around that. For example, my mom, who literally knew I had arachnophobia, one time we were up in Walmart around Halloween time. She was like, oh, hey, close your eyes and hold out your hand. I didn't know what was happening, so I did it. And then I took a peek. I'm a little kid. I took a little peek. And then here she is about to drop this massive plastic tarantula on my hands. And I like jumped back. I was screaming. I was like, why? What? For what reason? Like, that's not funny. I know you have a phobia for snakes. I don't know the name of the snake phobia, but I knew she had a phobia of snakes, and I've never bothered her about it because I know the feeling. I have empathy. I can relate to her situation, so I know I would never put a snake on her, or a toy snake. That's stupid. Like, why would I do something to someone when I know how terrifying it is for them, Like, I get a prank. I understand pranks, but like, triggering someone's phobia is just really messed up. So yeah, even though a video game spider can't harm me at all in real life, it causes this psychological distress, and that distress is what harms me. It makes my body freak out no matter what I do. I can't control it. I get chills, I shiver, all types of stuff. I feel sick, right? So knowing that there are mods that can help with this takes that weight off me. My mind feels better. And in fact, there is a mod for Baldur's Gate 3 that will turn spiders into wolves, I believe. And thank you so much to the mod creator. I'll actually link the mod in the description at the end of the video. He's been updating it every time there's a major patch, because obviously, like, it breaks. The mod breaks, and then he needs to fix it so it works. And he's the reason why I've been able to play through Act 1 over and over and over and over again. And I love it. Absolutely love it. Seriously, I would not be able to enjoy the game like I did without him. And basically what I want to get into, this is like the next portion of the video. Even though the mods are fantastic, a lot of people struggle to install mods. Not everybody knows how to do it. You know, if you grew up playing Minecraft, Skyrim, stuff like that, easily moddable games, then you're already familiar with how it works, how to set it up. You know, if you use Vortex, sure, you know how to do that. But a lot of people don't know how to do that. They're not very tech savvy. That's not their expertise. So what I'd like to ask is for Larian Studios to simply add an Arachnophobia mod. Now, this is something that was added in Devour. And if you're familiar with that game, it's a horror game. One of their updates, I believe it was around Halloween, they added a map where there are, like, instead of ghouls and the ghosts, there's spiders, and then the big boss is a giant spider lady, right? And my friends convinced me to play that map with them because they wanted to try it. We'd been playing Devour since the beginning, and we'd been playing every single major update. When I saw that it was a giant spider, I was like, no, I can't do this. I can't. And they checked the settings, and there was an Arachnophobia mod. When I ticked this mod, it turned all the spiders into, like, little slimes, like Terraria slimes, right? And I was like, oh, wow. That I can actually play the game. Like, straight up. Now, they did have a little bit of, like, issues because the sounds were still the same. So even though, like, remember, psychological. Even if I'm not seeing them, I'm hearing them. So, you know, the majority of the time when you're playing Devour, you're not really going to see the boss. You're going to be running trying to do your objectives, and you're going to hear it in the background, right? So naturally, when you hear God, that sound, God, I hate that feeling, dude. When you hear that sound behind you, you're still going to freak out. And I literally have clips on Twitch. And, you know, I'm not proud of it. Well, whatever. It's a psychological disorder, you know. I'm sure if you were recorded having a panic attack, you wouldn't like it. But I clipped it just so I could look back on it and, like, look at myself freaking out, because I've never seen myself like that before. I like to think that I have some pretty decent mental fortitude, but the moment I encounter something like that, I crumble. And that's just how it is. It's a mental disorder. You could be the biggest, toughest guy or girl, and if you come face to face with your phobia, you will melt. Simple as that. It's like when you're fighting, you get hit in the jaw, your brain rattles. There's nothing you can do about it, dude. Doesn't matter how tough you are. But, you know, they were 50-50 there, halfway there. Just having that accessibility to be able to switch it was fantastic. And I'm asking Larian, you know, something in the accessibility tab. It's very simple. Just switch the textures once you flip it on. Now, here's the part that I wanted to explain where I said that there's a problem with the community. I made this post on the discussions back in March. Let me try to make this a little bigger. Let's see. Can you guys see that? I think so. So I made this discussion post, and going into this, I already knew how the community was based off people asking for, you know, the accessibility in, like, different games, you know, all the time. It's a lack of sympathy. That's the problem with our community. We have people who don't, and it's really unfortunate too, because if someone says, hey, can you add a switch that you can turn on in accessibility that helps this group of people who have a mental disorder, you know? It doesn't seem like too tall of a task. And maybe it's me and I can't really understand where these other people are coming from. But when, I tried to make a very heartfelt post to, garner sympathy and empathy from people who also suffer from what I have. And the responses were expected. I went to this, I knew I'd get clowned on. And to be honest, I saw a discussion post about, I think it was something like, it wasn't about arachnophobia, but there was another person who asked for, like, if Larian could add something. I think it was like eyesight or something like that. I'm not too sure, or maybe it was hearing. Again, a disability. And they were asking for accessibility settings. And the entire thread was filled with, no, go play a different game. Don't do it. Don't play our game then. You don't need it. They can't change it just because of you. And it got to the point where this person was getting harassed so bad in the discussion post that I saw one of the devs in the thread say, hey, I'm shutting this down. We'll take it into consideration. Okay? They acknowledged it. So after I saw that, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll jump. I'll go for it. I'll make the post, even though I know I'm going to get several pages of hatred for no reason. So I made the post, and I started, I said, I'll probably get clowned on this. My initial intention was that the backlash would be so bad that a dev does see it, shuts down the thread, and maybe considers it, right? The thread hasn't been shut down yet, but it's pretty bad. The amount of, toxicity in here, and you can see here, I did get, a couple of awards. I got some Jester awards. But yeah, also, thank you so much to the haters. Thank you for giving me these awards. I was able to deck out my freaking Steam profile with that amount of points that I got. And also, thank you to the people who actually understand and gave me these points because they understand. They're like, hey, But yeah, just this first reply alone, society shouldn't cater to individual preferences, phobias, and quirks. There's a lot of things I dislike about modern society, but I've learned to simply avoid things that might trigger me and let others live their lives. Suck it up and move forward. So the major problem with this is it's a video game. This has nothing to do with society as a greater whole. I don't know why this Metallicus person is being very dramatic. They're probably either 16 or in their late 30s and is very, edgy. But catering to individual preferences, phobias, and quirks, I wouldn't even call it catering when you can just have a setting that changes the model or a texture or just shuts the textures off completely and makes them like a blob, right? And if it doesn't affect you, I don't understand why you'd go out of your way to get mad at people who it does affect. Because if I'm making a game and someone says, yeah, I have thalassophobia, I have this phobia, I have that phobia, can you help with it? If my game heavily revolves around it, yeah, I'll try to help you. It's as simple as that. You should want more people to come to your community to enjoy the game that you love. You should want to share that experience and not want to gatekeep it and lock it out from everyone else. In my opinion, that's just me. God knows, if Subnautica, for example, I don't have I think that is the thalassophobia, the ocean one. Obviously, it's going to be a lot harder to accommodate people with that phobia when the entire game revolves around being in water. I understand that. I would understand having a bit more backlash if someone asked for a mod for that, right? I get it. Baldur's Gate isn't a game about spiders. This guy is acting like I went into the discussion post for Kill It With Fire and said, hey, can we get a Arachnophobia mod? I have a phobia of spiders, but I want to play Kill It With Fire, which is a game primarily about killing spiders. That's ridiculous. That's not what I'm asking for. So, they're being very dramatic, and a lot of posts just dogpile on me and kind of go off of that, and it's a shame because I definitely wish that people would have more sympathy, at the very least, I'm not saying, pity me, but at the very least, understand. Sympathy and empathy. Things that are lacking in the CRPG community. I noticed that. I noticed that with every single CRPG that has spiders. There will always be someone asking if there's a mod. They're never rude about it. They're just asking, hey, is there something like that? And you'll always get several people saying, oh, screw you, go play a different game. Oh, society catering to you. We're bending our knee to people like you. You're so weak. It's like, dude, come on now. It's not that deep. And, you know, there's someone here, I want to empathize. I get that it's a fear. It's not a fear you have control of. But personally, I'm of the opinion of facing your fears. And that's the thing. If there's someone who has arachnophobia playing this game and they wish to face their fears, so be it. Hey, I'm not going to tell you how to manage your fear. But I know that there are plenty of people who just can't stomach it. They can't handle it because at the end of the day, it is a mental disorder. It's all in our mind. So having a setting for that is very helpful. A lot of games are doing this nowadays where they have these arachnophobia settings. And I can only imagine, like, you know, I don't know when games started adding, like, you know, colorblind settings. But I'd like to think that when someone first started playing the game, it was like, hey, can we have colorblind settings? I literally can't see any of these colors. I'd like to think that people weren't replying saying, oh, go play a black and white game then. Oh, don't play this game. We have to bend to colorblind people. Oh my God, if you can't see colors, just go play some other game. Play a black and white game. I'd like to think that didn't happen. Go play chess. I'd like to think that didn't happen, but I'm sure it did. And, you know, that's just how it is. Over time, we progress more, and devs are able to see, hey, this group of people want to play our game, but they can't because there's an element of the game that either renders it completely unplayable or it brings great distress. So I have noticed that a lot of devs have been adding arachnophobia modes. I'm very thankful. If you're a small game dev, indie dev, whatever, AAA dev, and you see this somehow, please consider adding arachnophobia setting if you have like a game that has spiders in it, you know? It helps. It could, just a small thing like that could help your players with this disorder enjoy it a bit more. But yeah, there are people here who also explain, you know, yeah, see, this discussion is a sterling example of the empathy the internet is known for. There is none. It's very sad. And I feel like it definitely has to do with being able to be anonymous behind a screen. I think if I'm talking to a person, if I'm talking to a team of game devs in person, and I say, hey, part of your game has a lot of spiders in it. You know, when you're fighting druids, they can summon spiders. There's people who have arachnophobia playing the game. Let's add a setting that may either just completely change the textures or just not even remove them. I don't care to remove them, but changing them to be something else. Changing the sounds as well. I guarantee you if I'm in a freaking boardroom or like a group of people in person, they're not going to be like, oh, get over it, soy boy. Come on now. Just face your fears, dude. Face it. They're going to be like, yeah, that makes sense. Let's try it, you know? Probably isn't too much work anyways. I feel like it's more work to make the models than to just have a switch that makes the textures completely garbage. But yeah, the anonymity of being behind your screen helps you be a bigger scumbag. But yeah, it's sad. It's very sad. And then, you know, people devolved into, you know, their edgy humor saying, you know, oh, not wanting spiders in your game is racist and stuff. And just reading through it, I was like, I was at least trying to find the points that were actually arguments, you know? Like, yeah, see this one. A simple no would suffice. But then again, I shouldn't be surprised that people go out of the way to be rude. And I must agree, it's probably a bit much to ask the developer to cater to a phobia. Where does it end? Given that mods are allowed, this will probably be the best route. Giant spiders have been a classic trope in fantasy since Tolkien penned The Hobbit. I don't know what that is. I know what The Hobbit is. So nearly every RPG is going to have spiders as an enemy. And I get what they're saying. You know, it's a common theme. It's super common. And mods are definitely the go-to. Because there's always going to be a mod for everything. But asking to go that next step is not unreasonable. And I'm glad that I took this step and asked, and I'm glad that I got grilled because someone needs to do it. Someone has to do it. If everyone stays silent, they won't be heard. And I don't know if any devs at Larian has seen this or not, but just them seeing it is something that I like. The seed can get planted. Simple as that. And it's a shame. Like, what is this? Yeah, it's not like we're a society of tribal hominids who use pack tactics and strength in numbers to solve problems. Nope, humanity consists entirely of solitary apex predators who do everything on their own and have never once in their entire evolutionary history lent a hand to another individual, human or otherwise. Am I right? Am I right? So this person got a clown reaction for it, even though it makes sense. What they're saying makes sense, Helping people. Whoa. The big boogeyman helping people. I want players to come to this game. I want people to enjoy Baldur's Gate 3. I want to be able to tell my friend who also has arachnophobia, hey, buy Baldur's Gate 3. It comes out August 3rd. Buy it. Pre-order it. It's fantastic. You will love it. But if I can't tell them that there is an effort being made to at least help with their mental disorder, it really sucks. It's hard for me to recommend a game like this. And it's not like something like where I'm like, oh, Shadowheart. Yo, Larian Studios. Shadowheart isn't my type. Can you make her a little thicker? Come on, Larian. I like him thick. Come on, Larian. Do that. Like, that's a little different. That's kind of goofy. That's kind of stupid. What I'm talking about here is a mental disorder, and a lot of people seem to let that part go over their heads, thinking, hey, you have a mental disorder? Just face it. That'll fix it. Okay. I wish. If facing my mental disorder could have fixed it, I would have been fixed by now. Because the amount of times I've ran into spiders in games just randomly, it should have been fixed by now. And since I can handle Minecraft spiders, I shouldn't have arachnophobia anymore, right? By that logic. But no, that's not the case. It's very sad. It's not like we have to be trained to become effective killing machines in war or trained to not be empathetic towards our fellow man either. What a silly notion, empathy. Who practices it? Decent people? F decency. Only sociopathy and punching down is allowed. And I see he said sarcastic. But it's like, at least there are some people in this thread who are able to acknowledge how silly it is. How people, act like society is going to crumble if you help someone. What is this with people in arachnophobia always freaking about fantasy games and modding out the spiders? I'm scared of heights and I don't freak out when standing on the edge of a cliff in a game. I really love flying in games too. That's the thing. That's the key word. This guy just said, I'm scared of heights. I am also scared of heights. I don't freak out when I stand at a super high point. I went to the sand dunes. I stood on top of sand dunes. I've seen how high it is. I'm scared of falling down. Yeah, it's pretty scary. This guy doesn't have a phobia, though. A phobia, I've already said it plenty of times, you guys are probably getting sick of it. That's not something that you can just ignore. It really isn't. There should be a setting for arachnophobes, one where everything is an arachnid, even the player character. The world has no place for your intolerance and racism. So, like, stuff like that, I get that they're joking, but, like, okay. Yeah, and this is where it kind of, like, devolved into, like, the edgy humor. I feel you, bro. I'm not arachnophobic, but I'm sure sooner or later someone will create a mod to change the texture skin to spiders. I think it's a good idea. I don't think it'll take much to change it. I've actually seen some modders on other games doing the same. Don't listen to the fools in this thread. It's easy enough to do on less mod-friendly games. Someone will do it, no sweat. So yeah, there is definitely people who have empathy in here, but for every empathetic person, you'll see like 10 people clowning on you. And I'm okay with it. Oh, and then on June 14th, so almost a month ago, I said the game is almost out and I'm getting more hyped by the day. I read through the thread and it's very sad to see people who think a switch that would be under an accessibility tab means society is bending and changing to my demands. And it's a little dramatic, but I've seen the same rebuttal used against plenty of people with phobias. Please don't keep the idea in your head that a setting like that would mean the fall of society. It's not that grand. Don't be so offended. I'll never understand why people without the issue think that that is like the end of all things, and they get angry about it. Because if you don't need the ticket, why would you be bothered by it? When I go into my games, they ask for the brightness settings, and sometimes you can go to the settings, accessibility, you can see colorblind settings. I'm not colorblind, so I just ignore it. And I'm like, hey, I'm glad they have all these settings, all these different types of colorblind modes for all these people with different types of colorblindness. That's fantastic. That's great. But it's one of those things. That's just how life works. There are a lot of things that could help people, but for some odd reason, people push back on it. And then over time, it gets integrated. And then people who did have a problem with it just ignore it. They're like, oh, yeah, that never happened. So, I'm sure one day we'll get to the point where a lot of games that do feature spiders have arachnophobia settings. And then, people will just ignore that and jump to the next thing. Like, for example, let's say, now this would be really hard to do, but I'm sure someday technology will allow it. Let's say you're playing a RPG game, and, well, this wouldn't work because we have subtitles. But I was going to say, like, maybe sign language or something like that. Right now that sounds kind of ridiculous, kind of crazy, but you never know. Someday there might be a setting that allows the characters to speak in sign language. That'd be really interesting. But yeah, arachnophobia is definitely the heat of it right now. This is a setting that's getting insane pushback, but it's something so simple and it would help so many people, And it's just something I don't understand. But since I made this comment, I actually muted the thread because not 9, 6 more pages were of people responded to this, and I don't even want to go through this because just reading it makes me lose faith in this community just more and more. It's really sad. It's definitely sad to see. But yeah, I'm totally cool with being the sacrificial lamb for this. In fact, I hope more people comment it. I hope more people comment on it being, really mean. So maybe the devs will see it and shut down the thread. Be like, hey, a lot of our fans have this issue, and, Baldurs Gate 3 could be the Street Fighter 6 of fighting games, Street Fighter 6 has opened the door to so many casual players, and, I'm sure you guys have heard about it, the modern control argument. A lot of old school players do not like modern controls because it gives the ability for newer players to, or newer casual players to perform combos without really needing to practice or try. And I don't understand that anger. Like, it is what it is, dude. But, I feel like a lot of game communities have this issue. And it can be solved. Just a flip of a switch. Simple as that. Oh, whoops. Where the heck did my screen just go? There it is. Oh, sorry about that. My screen was freaking out for a second there. But yeah, just note to anyone watching this, if you don't have the phobia, if you don't have arachnophobia, please just try to have a shred of sympathy, empathy, any type of pathy towards people with it. And please realize that so many more people could love this game, because at the end of the day, don't you want more people to be a part of your community, share videos, create content, mods, enjoy the game as much as you do? Locking out the game, trying to gatekeep, is a poison in my eyes. No matter what game I play, I always try to leave a good review if I enjoy it. I try to get people to play it because I want to see more people playing the game. I want to see more people enjoy it. Unless it's League of Legends, then I'll warn them. That's the only game that I'll actually actively warn people. Say, hey, you're going to get addicted and it's not a good game. Please don't play League of Legends. That's the exception. But other games like Baldur's Gate 3, I recommend it. I recommend it to my coworkers. I talk about it all the time. And, for people who do have arachnophobia, I hope for both you and me that Larian Studios adds an arachnophobia mode or setting in the full game's release. And if not, that's fine too. I hope that modders cover it, because even when we have the mods, there's nothing scarier than knowing that you are facing that spider. Because remember, irrational fears. When I first found out about the Skyrim mod for the spiders, I thought, okay, if I install this mod, one, what if I installed it wrong and I load up my save and there it is again and I'm going to throw up? Two, and this is where the irrational part kicks in, what if I install it correctly, but somehow randomly it disables mid-fight and then it reverts back to a full spider and I throw up? That's the irrational part. Three, what if, you know, the modder themselves missed like a spider? Like, I don't know too much about programming, but I've seen like texture mods files and stuff like that, and it'll be like, oh, frost spider, earth spider, fire spider, forest spider, this spider, and then, you know, what if something's under arachnid boss, arachnid, and it's like the modder missed the arachnid part but got all the regular spiders, or just missed specific ones, you know? Just having that looming over you is actual torture. And I can't begin to explain how much I hate it. But yeah, this post is a good example of seeing how we could be progressing forward in this community, but we just can't. The pushback is insane for no reason, no real reason. I don't understand it. And remember, I'm just going back to this one. Still baffles me. Society shouldn't cater to individual preferences, phobias, and quirks. Society. Baldurs Gate 3 is a society. Larian Studios. What Larian Studios does to their game affects society. In fact, you know what? Hold on a second. You see this right here? This raid? This is bug spray. I can't believe society bent the knees to people who don't like bugs in their house. Like, can you believe that? Society's fallen. The fact that they accommodate to this and they catered to specific phobias, quirks, and preferences. I just avoid them. Dude, that spider in the corner of your room dropping down onto you that you're deathly afraid of? Just freaking leave the house, man. Come on. Why should society have to cater to you? Screw you. So, yeah, it's really silly, really sad. The people who make these anti-phobia arguments are either 15-year-olds or grown men who have basically had a very miserable life. And it's pretty sad. So, yeah, thanks to everyone who watched. I know we kind of went off on the phobia rant a bit. But again, I am very, very excited for the game. Like I said, with the mods, the creator of the Arachnophobia mod for Baldur's Gate right now, the mod still works, I believe. I know I uninstalled Baldur's Gate 3 because I was assuming that when the full game comes out, like, I'm probably going to have to re-download the whole game again. And I'd rather not just already have, like, 70 gigs just sitting here. So I left it uninstalled. I haven't played it since July 14th. Oh yeah, it's almost the 1 year anniversary of the last time I played it. I was about to say, it's only July 10th. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the mod still works. The community is very active, the modding community. And yeah, to those who pre-ordered it, I believe we're going to be getting the upgrade for free. So I'm very excited for that. Can't wait. But yeah. Very stoked. Very, very stoked. I'm so freaking excited, dude. This is going to be the best CRPG ever. And also right now with Pathfinder, there are no Arachnophobia mods, so it's definitely a struggle. Very tough. I doubt I'll really finish the game, but, you know, I'll keep searching for mods. I know someone gave an actual tutorial on how to mod it, but I'm not really savvy in making a mod. I'm decent at installing mods. Oh, big deal. But yeah, thanks everyone who tuned in. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will make sure to put, like, different chapters in the video so that, you know, if you want to skip the Arachnophobia part, go ahead and skip it. But I also kind of wish I put in the video that I'm not going to actually put spiders on there. Because I know whenever I search, like, Arachnophobia stuff, I'm always worried that there's going to be a picture of a spider, because that's what Google tends to do. It's like, oh, you're looking up your phobia? Here's a big picture of it. Kind of scummy. But I'll be sure to put a warning in the description that I'm not going to put any pictures of spiders. That would be true scum, like actual scum lord thing to do. So, not even going to. Let's see, is there anything else? Anything else that I want to talk about? Other than my excitement. I definitely think I want to try the monk, open hand monk. I think that would be really exciting. Yeah, open hand monk would be sick. The romance. I hope the romances are good. Shadowheart. I mean, I'm just gonna go for Shadowheart. Yeah, I like Shadowheart. She's pretty good. But I mean, if there are any other characters that they add who are romanceable, we'll see. I guess that's about it. But yeah, thanks to everyone who tuned in. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. And I hope you all enjoy Baldur's Gate 3. Take it easy.